Canine Longevity is presented by Myos Pet, the leaders in pet muscle health.
Photobiomodulation, we know it in our industry as laser therapy. Well, joining us today is Lisa Mixis of Response Systems, talking to us about all things laser. Lisa, we love your lasers. We have them in our clinic. We recommend them to our referring veterinarians, to our clients. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Excited to be here.
You have a very diverse background and very, very incredible history. Can you tell us a little bit about how did you get involved with laser therapy?
I got into it through family. My in-laws started the company back in 1983. So I think, I have to do a little more research, but I think one of, if not the first, veterinary laser therapy company out there. So built everything from the ground up, and that's how we started. So in the equine market and, back in the 80s, it was a little difficult to get people to believe that you can take a device that emits a wavelength of light and it can heal or have different types of therapeutic effect. So it was a bit of a uphill climb in the beginning, but now, obviously, as we know, laser therapy, not just in the veterinary world, but in the sport world and human PT is now an accepted research-backed modality. So it's come a long way in 40 years.
Yeah, so it started, you had an equine first, and then you brought it to canine after. When did you bring it to canine?
I would say in the 90s, probably. Okay. Yeah, late 90s, slowly into the canine market. Equine is always first to adapt to new opportunities because they're really looking for something to ensure that those sport horses are staying sound. So they kind of always, a lot of the new modalities start in the equine and then they slowly trickle into the small animal world after. I think the small animal vets like to see efficacy proven on the equine side first before they're ready to bring it to the small animal side.
Yeah, can you explain to the audience, how does laser therapy work? How does this photobiomodulation entire science, how's it going to affect tissue healing or longevity in the canine?
Yep, very good question. And my example for whether you're a veterinarian or a pet parent is think about vitamin D in the sun. So everybody knows that in the winter, you can get the seasonal deficit or depression, and a lot of that is related to light and vitamin D. So we're all pretty aware that when you go out into the sunlight, your body can produce vitamin D. In the wintertime, we have a little more of an issue with that. So our bodies and cells are already equipped, and part of our evolution is to absorb certain wavelengths from the sun to trigger biochemical reactions to drive health and longevity. Right. And that's exactly what happens with laser therapy. We harness the correct wavelengths of light because not every wavelength under the sun is going to be therapeutic. It has to be in a specific spectrum. So we harness that spectrum of light. It's absorbed by our cells and triggers a multitude of cellular reactions that help to reduce pain. It helps to reduce inflammation and then trigger a cellular repair process.
Okay, so are there then certain conditions that you would reach for
laser? Think anything with inflammation. So that could be chronic inflammatory conditions like arthritis, degenerative conditions. I know a lot of dogs are dealing with IVDD or DM types of conditions. So anything with inflammation, and that could be acute. So even like an ear infection, for instance. So the laser is not going to get rid of that bacteria. It's not going to address the bacteria itself. But as your antibiotic is taking its course to address the bacterial infection, that redness, that inflammation, that discomfort can be addressed with laser in the interim to help get that down and make the dog or cat much more comfortable.
So it seems like even for chronic conditions, if you have a chronic tendon injury or chronic osteoarthritis, from what I've understood, it helps to stimulate the body to heal in that regards as well. So not just acute injury or post-surgical, for chronic as well? Absolutely.
So you're going to, on the acute side of things, our goal is to heal this particular condition. So the cellular repair pathway that laser triggers within the cells is going to help rebuild collagen, other proteins in the body, promote vasodilation and get blood flow into that area to really help accelerate that healing process of an acute condition. Chronic, like you're saying, arthritis and other degenerative conditions, we're not going to heal it per se, but what we can do is, number one, slow down the progression of that disease, and number two, really help the animal become much more comfortable as they're aging. So it's going to keep that inflammation in check. We're not going to heal arthritis, but we can make the animal much more comfortable. Quality of life is going to increase, and we really hope to kind of slow down that progression. Yeah.
What was fascinating, I found some papers out there that actually showed that laser therapy or photobiomodulation stimulates stem cells. So you can actually use this, and that whole term regenerative medicine that's out there right now with these things called platelet-rich plasma or the blood samples, platelets and stem cell therapy. It's been shown to be synergistic.
They are synergistic, and there's a lot of research still with the combination of different modalities and something like PRP or stem cell. And how long do we wait after an injection to start laser therapy? But there's studies that are slowly coming out looking at them combined together because it makes sense. If laser triggers you think back to like biology 101 and ATP, right? So we're all familiar with like ATP is the energy of life, right? And your cells generate ATP, and that drives all of your cellular processes. Laser therapy triggers ATP production, which increases cellular reproduction as well. So if you're thinking of something like stem cell, exactly. Now we want to, you've just injected some platelet-rich plasma or stem cell, and now we want that to multiply. And we want if you're injecting it into a knee, we want it to stay in there and thrive, and laser can help that as well.
Canine Longevity is presented by Myos Pet, the leaders in pet muscle health.
As dogs age, muscle loss can quietly steal mobility and quality of life. But what if science could help change that? Myos Muscle Formula with Fortitropin is an all-natural, science-backed ingredient shown to help build and maintain muscle while reducing muscle breakdown with over a decade of research and real results. Because stronger muscles means more moments together. Myos, more time together.
So when I think of laser therapy, I mainly think of rehab therapists. Your veterinary rehab therapist using it at their clinics. Our rehab therapists, that's their gold standard. I think every rehab therapist around the planet, laser therapy is their gold standard. But the challenge we run into in our industry is the owners will bring the patient in once a week. Maybe they live far away. And we know there's benefits to using this therapy more than once a week.
Right.
And so would it be possible, or do you see this as something where they go in for formal rehab once a week, but then there's supplemental treatments they could do at home the other days of the week? We're not replacing formal rehab, but using it as a supplement.
So yes, good question. So there's different classifications of laser. We have anywhere from a class 1 up to a class 4, and there's many different variables that go into how a laser is classified, but power is one of those. So in clinics, in your rehab clinics, a lot of your veterinary professionals will have a class 4 laser. It's more powerful. It's going to be a faster treatment, which is important if they're trying to treat as many animals as they can in an 8-hour period. But they are powerful, and they're probably not the best option in the hands of a pet parent. They can get hot. You can potentially burn if you're not professionally trained to use that higher power laser most effectively. So there are other systems, like a class 3B, for instance, that a pet parent can use at home under the guidance of their veterinarian or rehab therapist. And to your point, they supplement each other. So you go in for your, maybe it's a weekly treatment with your vet, and then you can supplement at home with a little lower power, correct wavelength. As we talked about before, you need the right wavelength of energy to make sure that it's going to be therapeutic. Your treatment's probably going to be a little longer with your dog on your couch as it is at the vet. but you have the time to spend with your dog on the couch, and you're going to get a nice continued effective treatment that will supplement what you've got going on with the vet. And I love to use the example of pushing a snowball down a mountain. So if you've got a snowball going, if you push it once, it's going to move. You're going to get some sort of reaction, and it's going to get momentum, but it's going to stop. If you can push that consistently, let's say 2 or 3 times, you're really going to build up momentum. So when you let go, it's going to sustain so much longer. And that's the benefit of continuous treatments of laser, is that you keep nudging the cells so that even when you take the therapy away, it's going to continue that stimulation within.
Okay. So what about maintenance? So we're talking about injury. So we're talking about people or animals rather that have osteoarthritis or tendon injury or post-surgical. But what about the use of it as a home modality? So we talk about massage and we talk about body work, and this is all about longevity. So is there any thoughts of using photobiomodulation or laser therapy as just a home maintenance program for patients or for dogs in general?
Yes. So we like to think of it as prehab or prevention. So laser and like PEMF is another modality that you can use. And the goal is to condition and to put those cells into peak condition, so to speak, to help prevent injuries. So let's say you have a sport dog, and they are, they shoot out of the gate like a rocket, and we want to make sure that the tissue is flexible there, and that's where laser can help in the beginning to help increase blood flow. You can get the synovial fluid a little more lubricated before a competition, for instance, to help protect. And it does the same for your, a non-sport dog as well. Your dog, your family dog. Yes, you can use laser to help keep them in peak condition and kind of slow down. Age is inevitable. We're all there. But if we can kind of slow down the progression of those degenerative types of conditions, which usually inflammation is the nemesis, if we can keep that inflammation down, we can hopefully slow down that progression as well.
It's fascinating because your idea of using it in the athletes, agility, fly ball, these great dog sports that are out there. I've seen some papers in human sports, just like you mentioned, where they'll use it prior to going out and pitching or playing their sports. And then I've seen some papers where they're using it after sport as well to help kind of cool down lymphatics or decrease the inflammation.
Yes.
So is that something you would think about for the canine athletes as well?
Absolutely. Then? So, and this is where we talked about how we started in the equine world. It's equally relatable from a equine athlete to a canine athlete. What we want to do prior to a competition is to, again, warm up. I think of it as like, you think of kind of going for a walk before you jog, right? So think of laser as kind of doing that on a cellular level. So you're warming up the cells prior to pushing them. So you're going to protect, you're going to increase oxygenation. There's studies out there that show, especially in endurance, by lasering a muscle prior to, you can increase the endurance of that muscle in a competitive environment. And then post, our goal is to really keep inflammation down, because it's that slow little bit of inflammation that leads to chronic tendinopathies.
Big word.
Yeah, that one got me stuck. And ligament, potential ligament issues with a lot of athletes. We want to, we're watching out for ACL in human, canine cruciates in dogs. We want to keep the tissue as supple and in peak condition as we can, and laser can help with that.
Of Canine Longevity is brought to you by Equiseer for Dogs, combining light therapy, infrared, and neurostimulation to help support canine comfort and movement.
So if clients are listening to this, or pet owners, pet parents, and they say, this is for me, I really, really want to get one for my pet at home or dog, how do they go about that? What's the next steps as far as them? Do they go to your website? How would they order, a laser?
Yep. So we always recommend consulting with your veterinarian.
Okay.
And if your veterinarian, a lot of times a lot of the vets are already, you're getting laser at your vet right now. But we have a full rental program for pet parents. They can either go through their vet for that rental program, or they can come directly to us. So they can, a lot of times we have pet parents that will rent after a cruciate surgery. or post-operatively, they only need it for a couple of months while that dog heals, to kind of accelerate that process and get them up and going faster so they can rent for a short period of time. We have other instances where you may be treating something more degenerative, and you're going to need this for maybe a year to a few years, so they can rent and roll that into a purchase program as well.
How do they know how to use it? Do you have videos online, or say it's a shoulder versus a knee or a hip? The owner may not know dog anatomy, so
Right.
How do they know where to put the probe?
This is where we're really, again, veterinary first. Our most effective use of a pet parent home laser is when the veterinarian is involved as well. Okay. So in some cases, the pet parent will come in for their initial appointment with the vet, and the vet will say, this is exactly how I want you to use this laser. And then they can go home and treat on a daily basis. Sometimes there's not accessibility to a veterinarian that has a laser, so we kind of can take that pet parent step by step with a introductory video, and we'd even do that live on kind of Zooms or FaceTimes to get them started. And then we partner with some other organizations who have pet parent laser home courses that they can watch online to really help guide them to the most effective way to use the laser, because it does seem, it is a laser. You think laser focused. You really want to make sure that you're putting that energy into the right spot to get the best effect. And we want to make sure that you're optimizing that as well. We don't just want you to rent a laser and not get the effect that you need for your dog. So we have some courses that can help guide them through.
Last question. Mm-hmm. So what's on the horizon? I've heard that there is a possibility that you guys are bringing a laser out that pet parents can actually order online.
Yes.
Is that true?
It is, and we're very excited about it. The need has come, and I know everybody is tired of hearing about it, but COVID totally changed the way that not just veterinary medicine, but a lot of things. An interesting story is when COVID first hit and all the vets, everything closed, right? So your dog who's been getting laser therapy for the last 6 months, the last year on a regular basis, now it's gone. They can't get in there. And it was like 3 to 5 months, that a lot of things were shut down. We were getting calls within the first 2 months, I would say, of my dog can't get in to get their laser therapy. I've noticed a significant difference in their movement, their mobility, their pain level. How can I get one from you? Can I rent one from you? I cannot get into my vet. So, and that sort of kind of triggered the home use laser. So we're creating one that is more affordable, yet equally effective to those systems that you can get at the system that your veterinarian has, but designed in a portable, more affordable way for the pet parent to use at home.
I can't tell you how excited I am about that. I know clients are going to be excited. Agility owners, all the sport owners, this is going to be huge for them. So Lisa, people are interested now in ordering one of the home lasers that are available. Do they go to your website? What's the next steps for them to be able to place the order?
That's an easy way to start is just to go to respondanimal.com, and all the information will be there, and they can reach out to us and we'll go from there. Yeah.
I can't thank you enough for coming and joining us and talking about lasers. Incredible technology. And I'm Dr. Sherman Canapp with Canine Longevity. And remember, it's all about canine health span, not canine lifespan.
Good girl, Fachi. Canine Longevity is presented by Myos Pet, the leaders in pet muscle health.